What is going on, my friends? Ryan Williams here, back with another one. And since we've entered into a new month, it is time for another dividend portfolio update. Buckle up, because in this video, I'm going to be opening up my entire portfolio to you guys, where I'll show you everything, like how my stocks performed in the last month, all of my purchases throughout the month of January, and we'll discuss what moves I'm planning to make in this upcoming month. So be sure to stick around until the end so you don't miss a thing. Anyway, before we get rocking and rolling, if you're planning on swooping up some more dividend stocks in February, go ahead and give this video a big thumbs up. And if you're interested in learning more about dividend stocks, then please consider subscribing to my channel. On this channel, that's essentially all we talk about, and I'm sharing 2 videos every single week with you guys, most of which are dividend stock analyses and updates, as well as inside looks into my own portfolio, like what we'll be doing today. So if that's up your alley, then hit that subscribe button for me. I'd love to have each and every one of you follow me along on my dividend investing journey. Anyway, thank you so much for doing that, and now, without further ado, let's get into it. All right, my friends, so we are over here on Google Sheets taking a look at my portfolio on my dividend portfolio tracking spreadsheet. This is version 4.0, and if you guys want to grab it for yourselves, you can certainly do so for free. The link to grab it is in the description of this video. All you need to do if you want to start using this spreadsheet, guys, is click the link, and it'll open up a templated version of this spreadsheet. And once you open that, guys, you'll go to File, hit make a copy right there, and then hit OK. And then it will make a copy of the spreadsheet template, which you can then go and start inputting your own data. At any rate, guys, this is what we were looking at for my portfolio. And as it currently stands, my portfolio is valued at $33,286.40, which is really, guys, only like $110 more than where it was this time last month, which, as you can see on the screen, the market value 30 days ago or so was $33,171. So we really haven't seen too much gain in this portfolio in the last month. And as far as the unrealized gain percentage, guys, we're down like over 3%, as you can see. Last month, we were at an 8.4% gain, and this month we are at a 5.48% gain. So we've lost quite a bit of unrealized gain in the last 30 days, which actually is no surprise in hindsight, because you guys went through it too. The market was just so volatile this last month. There was a lot going on. A lot of stocks really plummeted in share price, guys, and just as well, there were a good handful of stocks that really climbed in share price, which actually is a perfect segue into the next thing we're going to talk about. Jumping over to Seeking Alpha, I want to share with you guys my best performing stocks and my worst performing stocks in the last month. Starting with the best performing, we have Chevron, which in the last 30 days saw a gain of about 14%, which is unreal. Such a huge gain in a short amount of time. And EPD and Lockheed Martin were really not too far behind that, both with double-digit gains. And then Altria Group also saw a really impressive gain in the last month, up about 7.5%. And scrolling down, you guys can see a lot more red coming into view as we make our way down the screen. We had a lot of big losers in the month of January. And the biggest loser of all was Starbucks, with a loss of 16.5%. And then AWR also saw a double-digit loss in the same amount of time. And then we had some others like WP Carey, Intel, XYLD, JEPI, which all saw a loss of over 6%. And then a handful more really didn't do too great. Main Street Capital Corporation, 3M, Snap-on, which is a new company I just added to my portfolio, and Realty Income all saw losses of over 3.5%. So I guess that explains why I lost so much in unrealized gain in the last 30 days, right? Now, before we move on and talk about my purchases and sales in the last month, I want to show you guys just my best performing and worst performing stocks, not just in the last 30 days, but across all time in my portfolio. Now, going over here, we're going to change the total percent change. And as you guys can see, Chevron, which was the best performer in the last month, is also my best performing stock yet of all time, with a gain of almost 40%. And then AbbVie's actually doing better than I realized, up over 20%. And then Procter & Gamble, Altria Group, Coca-Cola, Realty Income, Southern Company, AWR, Lockheed Martin, all double-digit gains, guys. And Lockheed Martin I really haven't had for too long a time. That one shot up in the last month, as we saw a moment ago. So it's good to see that one in the double-digit gain range. Now, scrolling down, I have a few big losers too. The biggest loser is probably no surprise, AT&T. I'm currently at a loss of almost 13% with AT&T, followed by Intel, which also I'm at a double-digit loss, which happened in the last few days, actually. This after earnings came out, Intel really dropped in share price, which I know a lot of you guys saw. In fact, I know a lot of you guys out there picked up some shares in Intel, as well as myself. Once I saw the drop after earnings, I contributed a little bit more to this company. But then I have others like Verizon and XYLD and Snap-on, which really also are not doing too hot. And Snap-on is the most recent addition to my portfolio. It's not off to a great start, which is fine. I knew it wasn't the most discounted stock when I bought into it, so I'm happy to actually see it coming down in price, because I'm going to be dollar cost averaging my way down and lowering my average cost per share as the weeks and months go on with this company. All right, guys, and that is a perfect segue into what I wanted to get into next, which is my purchases and sales in the month of January. And I want to start with my sales in the month of January, which is something that I really don't get to talk about because I rarely sell any stocks. But in the month of January, I did sell out of one position in my portfolio. And if you're familiar with my content, you already know what that is. I sold out of Campbell's Soup, ticker symbol CPB. And as you can see on the screen, I sold about $2,000 worth of Campbell's Soup, which was just over 42 shares in that company for an average cost per share of $44.93, which I'm glad that I sold when I did. I was basically about even with that company after not much movement for the last couple years. And as I was saying, I'm very glad that I sold out when I did because that company has now come down a little bit more in share price. So I probably would have lost another $40-ish, $42 if I would have held on to it until today. And upon selling out of Campbell's Soup, guys, it afforded me the opportunity to really go on a sick dividend stock shopping spree. And as you can see on the screen now, these are all of my purchases throughout the month of January. And we're just going to run through the entire list. So I spent $325 buying Intel, which in total got me just over 6 shares of that company, which is awesome. I spent another $275 on Lockheed Martin, and that got me about 3/4 of a share. I invested $100 into Altria Group, which got me over 2 shares, and that was part of the Campbell's Soup contributions. And then another $100 into AT&T, picked up almost 4 shares of that company. I didn't quite make it to my goal of 100 shares of AT&T, by the way. That was one thing I wanted to do in January, but did not quite hit it. And moving on to my biggest purchase in the month of January, that was into Snap-on, the newest position in my portfolio. I invested about $1,100 from the Campbell's Soup sale into Snap-on and got just over 5 shares of that company. I also threw some money into Starbucks. In total, I invested about $400 into Starbucks and picked up nearly 4 shares of that. Moving on, I picked up a few shares of ORCC, spent about $100 on that, nothing too crazy. And then Verizon, spent another $200 from the Campbell's Soup funds and picked up 3.75 shares of that. And last but not least, guys, I put almost $200 into Procter & Gamble and bought 1.17 shares with that. And out of the whole bunch, guys, Procter & Gamble is probably the one that's at the least discernible discount. I mean, it's not a discount at all. It's actually priced pretty premium. I didn't know where else to put the rest of that Campbell's Soup money, so I just decided to throw it into Procter & Gamble, which is one of the core positions in my portfolio. It's one of my favorite stocks. I think they have a dividend growth history of 65 years, so they have a really impressive track record of being able to grow and pay their dividends. So I wanted to throw a little bit into Procter & Gamble while I had some extra funds. So all in all, as you guys saw, it was a pretty active month of buying and selling in the portfolio. I don't usually buy that many different stocks throughout the month. Usually I'm fixated on buying like 2 or 3 at a time at most. But from selling out of Campbell's Soup, it was really fun to be able to buy some shares in some companies that I haven't contributed to for a while, like ORCC and Procter & Gamble. Now, moving on, guys, what I'd like to do next is give you an update into my watch list, basically the stocks that I'm taking a look at considering adding to my portfolio. And jumping over to the screen, as you guys can see, this is considerably more consolidated than what you guys saw in last month's update. So I made a lot of changes to this watch list in the last 30 days, starting with the ones that I removed. I removed a good handful of stocks from this watch list. In the last month, I took off Allstate, HPQ, IBM, Leggett & Platt, Snap-on, and Target. And the reason I removed pretty much all of those stocks, except for Snap-on, you guys know why I took that off the watch list. But the reason I removed the other ones is because I just didn't see myself investing in them. For me, guys, I have my eye on other things. Instead of investing in HPQ or IBM, I would rather hold out for Microsoft. Instead of investing in something like Target, I would rather hold out for Costco. And with that said, don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with any of these stocks per se. I just would rather invest in some other things. So those were the stocks I removed from my watch list, guys. I also added a couple that I want to dive deeper into and look more into. And the 2 that I added were Johnson Outdoors Inc., ticker symbol JOUT, and T. Rowe Price, ticker symbol TROW. Now, I'm chewing on both of these stocks. Johnson Outdoors Inc., as you guys can see right here, I won't go too deep into it, but it's a really small cap company. They have a market cap of only $850 million. And then T. Rowe Price, guys, it's just looking like a pretty decently valued company. I mean, look at that price chart right there. In the last month, it's really dropped off. It's at a 25% discount in the last month. And the dividend stats for this company are pretty solid as well. They have a forward dividend yield of 2.88%, a 5-year growth rate of 15%, and then a dividend growth history of 35 consecutive years. So there's definitely some reliability to be found with T. Rowe Price. I like that. Now, moving on, guys, talking about some future plans for this portfolio and what I plan to do in this upcoming month. I definitely will be increasing my Snap-on position and buying more of that company every single month. I also would like to continue contributing to Starbucks, and I want to show you why. So scrolling down, finding Starbucks, guys, clicking there. Starbucks has plummeted in share price. It's currently sitting at $96.59 per share at the time of this recording. In the last month, it's down, 16.5%. We saw that earlier. It's the biggest loser in my portfolio in the last month. So I want to continue averaging down dollar cost averaging my way down and lowering my average cost per share in this company, because you guys know me, I'm a big coffee guy. I love my Starbucks. I mean, I still, in each of these videos, although you can't see it, I still have my coffee mug right here just filled with Starbucks beans always. So I'm a big supporter of Starbucks, and I want to be able to pick up more shares of that company while it's down. And my love for the company aside and the products aside, I mean, taking a look at the dividend stats, guys, you guys know, if you've been watching my content, I want to increase my positions that have more dividend growth. And Starbucks is that. They have a 5-year growth rate of almost 17%. So if I'm looking for more dividend growth, this is going to be a good one to continue contributing to, especially while my position's in the red and I can dollar cost average my way down. To me, seems like a good time to get some Starbucks for me personally. Now, if I was someone who didn't already have some Starbucks, I maybe would still hold off on starting a position in this company, because I do think it has some room to continue coming down in share price. I mean, going back to the summary page, we can see that the PE ratio is still pretty high with this company. It's 27.78. Maybe if it dips to like a 25 PE ratio or a 24 PE ratio, I'd consider starting a position there. Like I said, the only reason I'm buying it right now is because I can decrease my average cost per share. So that's another one of my future plans. I still have yet to get to 100 shares of AT&T, but I'll definitely be getting there this month. I only need like 1 or 2 more shares at this point, because I just got paid a pretty nice dividend from those guys a couple days ago. So that's another thing I plan on doing, and I may even continue picking up some shares of Intel, guys, like finding that right here. Intel also had a pretty nice drop recently. In the last month, they're down 7.5%, and I'm also in the red on this company. So I can buy this right now and decrease my average cost per share in Intel. All right, my friends, that pretty much wraps it up for today's video. Now, before we sign off for the day, there is one quick thing I want to address. This is usually the part in the video where we would do the weekly Q&A segment, and I know I also missed it in last Wednesday's video. I promise you guys, I'll be bringing it back next week. So if you guys have any questions for me to answer in the next video or in the next Wednesday video, definitely leave that in the comments below for me. And also leave me a comment below and let me know which stocks you guys plan to pick up this month, in the month of February. I'd be very curious to hear what moves you all plan on making, and see if we plan to buy any of the same stocks this month. I'd be curious to know. And last thing, guys, if you are looking for a tight-knit community of other dividend investors to chop it up with, definitely join the Dividenders Discord server. The link to do so is in the description of this video. And in case you're not familiar with Discord or have never heard of the Dividenders Discord group, basically, guys, it's just a community of us dividend investors. There's like 375 of us in there right now, and we have all these different conversations going on the topic of dividend stocks. We have people sharing their portfolios, sharing their price valuations for different dividend stocks, what they're buying, what they're selling, and pretty much everything related to dividend stocks and investing in general can be found in this Discord group. Hit the link in the description, join the Discord. You click the link, it'll take you right there, and then you just need to read the rules on the page, click that green checkmark button, and then it'll open up access to all of the other conversations going on. So I look forward to seeing you guys in there. And with that said, I will now get out of your guys' hair, but thank you so much for watching this video. I truly appreciate all of your support on this content I'm putting out. You guys are amazing. I hope you guys have a great day, and I will see you in the next video.